what I'll do, I'll just copy and paste this one and then put the new link in.
Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday, the 21st of July edition of the show. There's some bad noise in the background. The day
Who's that noise coming from? Is that from Jose?
It's not coming from me. I'll turn my phone off
It's not from me.
No, the day that Biden officially withdrew from the American presidential race, but that's actually not what we're here to discuss tonight.
Yeah,
we're here to discuss Tottenham Hotspur and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, but he'll have to wait till later. First of all, though, welcome to our guest, Jose from Cockle-Doodle-Doo.
Eltel Cockerel.
Eltel Cockle-Doodle-Doo, yeah. Welcome, Jose.
Hey, Jose.
Good evening, all you Spurs Diehards TTID.
Yeah.
I feel I'm amongst greats. Look at you, all of you.
Well, I don't know. I've got a great hat on because it's black.
And Mark Cousins, welcome, Mark.
How are we all? All? Just finished watching the golf.
Enjoy it?
Yeah, 4 days of it. 4 days of it. That's the only two tournaments I watch: the Open and the Masters.
Masters, yeah, you're probably the same as me. I did play this morning, not as well as some of these guys, but there you go. Also, evening to Adrian, our founder.
Hi, glad to be on the show. Always look forward to these shows now. I mean, we're gradually gaining momentum and getting more and more support, views, and everything like that. I still haven't quite got used to the technology. I've got to be honest about this, but I hope I can do the usual thing on podcasts and just bring a fact-based content, which is what I'm about, really. Facts, Spurs facts, and everything I do with the club.
At least we are live.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, because normally these are started and it's scheduled.
Yeah, well, I'm working on it as well. I've made a start tonight, which we'll come on to. And Ellie, so glad you're with us tonight. Another one of our owners and founders, and in particular, it's a bittersweet night for you, I imagine, tonight.
Yeah, because it's my husband's birthday tomorrow, right? And he was supposed to go to the QPR game, but he just couldn't manage it. I felt sorry for him, but you know what? There were plenty of Spurs fans in the QPR end where I was. I was in the Stan Bowles end, and there was more QPR, but there was quite a lot of Spurs, right? And obviously 3,000 Spurs fans in that end, packed jam. And there was a little bit of trouble. There's a bit of argy-bargy.
Bit of argy-bargy. I was actually thinking about a certain Dane that you're alleged to be in love with.
Yeah, I sent a message to James Flowers because I said he's talking out of his rear end because he said they can't make it.
We'll talk about Pierre later, Ellie.
Yeah, I did apologise to James. I didn't mean that. Because, you know, sometimes us Greek girls get a bit feisty.
where I want to start, and you were at the game, so I will start with you, Ellie. Mark, did you manage to see it?
I watched the highlights that Spurs put out. They put it out on their YouTube channel.
Adrian, you managed to see it?
Yeah, I watched the game.
Brilliant, and I did as well. So we can have some discussion as well. Jose, do you manage to catch it?
Yep.
Brilliant. So we're all in there. Okay, well, let's start off with, there we go. Woo! The technology does work. The team that started the game, not dissimilar. 3 changes from the team that started the first half at Tynecastle against Hearts. Austin, Porro, Gray, Skip, Donnelly, that was the same. Then we had Sarr coming in, Bissouma, Bergvall coming in, Johnson coming in, Johnson, Son and Werner coming in, and out from the starting 11 went Solomon Kulusevski, who of course would soon replace Bergvall, and Madison was sitting out the first half. Ellie, thoughts on that first half team?
Yeah, I missed 25 minutes of the first half because there was delays on the central line and I had to walk away. I didn't think it was such a walk, but it was miles. But when I got in, obviously they were well into the game and it was like end to end. But I think we topped it. I think we just about edged it, what I saw. I don't know about the first 25 because they did score when I was outside the ground. They actually scored. Yeah. But I think it was disallowed because when I got into the ground, it was still 0-0. So I think it was about 30 minutes into the game, actually. Right. So anyway, I just thought we played all right because we were moving the ball quite quickly, which I like, and Postecoglou likes, and we were getting it forward at every opportunity. And I thought Kulusevski, no, he wasn't there in the. Yeah, he was there in the first half, I think.
Yeah, he came on after about 20 minutes for Bergvall.
He came on for Bergvall, Ellie. He came on for Bergvall. Bergvall went off with a slight knock and he came on,
when I got in, he was there, and the QPR fans were saying his pants. So there you go. But I just thought we played quite well and we were knocking it about. Not brilliant, not like it wasn't as good as the Hearts performance, I don't think, in that first half, but we played okay. You know, there was nothing to write home about, really. It was just an okay performance. But the second half, I saw a lot more of, so I can comment on that.
Well, come on, we'll stick with the first half. Jose, your thoughts on the first half?
It was a bit harder than the first half. Well, it seemed to have a similar pattern to the first half against Hearts. Although I will say QPR seemed to be, and I find it was this weird, but QPR seemed to be stronger than Hearts. And I say this because Hearts finished third in the league last year. QPR struggled. Although with QPR, I know it's Ellie's husband's team, and Ellie's told me well before we had the friendly announcement that even last season, Ellie was telling me that this new manager they got at QPR is cooking at QPR and is sorting out a really good team and is getting rid of the chaff and stuff like that. So I thought QPR were a good barometer. When we played Hearts, thinking about it yesterday, and I said this because I did a watch along, Hearts are 2 weeks away from playing Scottish Premiership football. QPR are 3 weeks away from starting in the Championship, and Tottenham are 4 weeks away from starting in the Premiership. So they're actually good tests to see where we are fitness-wise, because we're playing against teams that start their leagues before we do. I felt that there were some good moments. It's still a lot of players trying to get to know each other, and it's a lot of players that are playing out of position as well. And when I say that, I'm talking about 3 of the back 4 are playing out of position, if you like. It's not their normal positions. I thought, I will say that I think Donnelly, he's impressed me in 2 45-minute games that he played against Hearts and QPR, and he could be converted and end up saving us money, looking for another person to to challenge a doggy for that spot. It could be that we save money there. I thought Gray again looked absolutely supreme. The way that he reads the game, he picks the ball, he turns on the half turn, he progresses the ball forward. I thought he looked impressive yesterday, and I thought Skip did okay. Skip did okay at the back.
Yeah, definitely.
He didn't do badly. He did okay. It was an absolute beauty of a goal from Bissouma. Excellent move for that goal. Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, if you were going to ask me, I would have said if it was a team effort, I would have given that probably 6 out of 10 yesterday for the first half.
Okay.
Mark, your thoughts?
Well, I obviously only saw the highlights that Tottenham put out on their YouTube channel. It was nice to see Brennan take his man on and cross that ball for Sonny that the keeper made a good save from. You know, he very rarely did that. And the goal was sublime. You know, there's no other words for it. It was good football all around. And at the end, Bissouma with his quick feet knocked it in.
I know. He rarely scores as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, no. Well, I know you're going to talk about the second half, but after the game, did Bissouma say something about scoring? And I said it was only a friendly, mate.
Yeah, he did.
Something like that. Well, I haven't seen that clip yet. I must look it up.
I think you can only do and score against what's in front of you.
Sorry, I think Spurs play were interviewing Bissouma after the game, and Postecoglou just happened to go past him because he was going to the fans to sign stuff, and as he's walked past him, he's turned around and said, "Don't worry, Biss, it was only a friendly."
Welcome, Colin. Welcome, Colin's in a building.
He might have a little dig. He's having a little dig, isn't he?
Yeah. Adrian, your thoughts?
Yeah, the lineup, guys. I mean, I sort of would ask a question of you guys as well. What I find, always looking to read between the lines and find out, get some sort of insight into Ange's mind. And again, he started with Gray and Skip as centre backs. And again, he left Ashley Phillips on the bench, who's a natural centre back, but he did bring him on both games. I mean, this tells me that he definitely wants to keep Skip, right? Even if Skip wants to go to get more game time, it's what it tells me. And Phillips being a 6'4" like man mountain, basically. I mean, I'm surprised for his height and all that he didn't start. But you know, going on to the first half, I mean, like Jose mentioned Donnelly. Well, Donnelly came from Northern Ireland as a striker, and Wayne Burnett converted him into a number 10. He has got a gorgeous forward defence splitting pass on him like a number 10 should have, like, you know. He's really good, and he chips in with goals. Like, he's playing on the left out of necessity. He could be kept as an emergency left back. I would rather get one in. I mean, and then during the game on the 28th minute, for those that remember, it's hard to remember every detail of every game, obviously, with so many changes. You see Donnelly on the right-hand side, the penalty area, having a header at goal. And you think, what's that about? He's playing on the left. Do you know what I mean? There he's come over onto the right. But the first half, yeah, they had that disallowed goal, didn't they, before when Ellie came in. And then we got a well-worked goal. And my man had a hand in it. I say my man because I'm one of the Spurs fans who is actually a big fan of Kulusevski. I know half the fan base isn't. But that's 2 games. In 2 games, he's had 2 excellent assists. The flick away at Hearts through for the goal, right? And again, it's his vision in that new role that he's got, which I think he looks best suited, that he passes the ball through again, right? That's 2 assists. And then later, he did that Hoddle-esque long ball to Werner, put Werner through, and as usual, Werner fluffed his lines, right? Why Werner take the ball wide rather than he makes the angle even harder when he drags the ball? Well, anyway, so I'll stop there before I go on to one, Ian, and come back to you.
No, I mean, let's. I mean, I've got a few thoughts myself. Just go through the players one by one, really. I'm impressed with Austin as a goalkeeper. I like him. I know he's 25. He seems to have suddenly come to what you think, oh, he's a young 21, 22-year-old, but he's not. And I think he's probably ready to be our deputy. I'm not sure when with Austin there and with Gunter there as well. We'll be looking to bring in another goalkeeper. Like you, Gray, Skip really impressed me, probably more than Gray, if I'm honest. He's tenacious. Donnelly, yeah, but Donnelly can't make those kind of errant passes that he did. You know, a better team than QPR will punish them at Premier League level. You just can't afford to do that. I thought Sarr and Bissouma were excellent. I'll come on to your thoughts on man of the first half. Bergvall, we didn't see much, but I gather the injury isn't. Sorry? Oh, sorry, I've got an echo there. Wasn't too serious. Sonny looks out of sorts in that front row. Johnson did okay, but you know, I mean, as Mark's watching the golf, I mean, some of his 9 irons, he was hitting 3 woods with. No wonder the ball was going flying over the other side. You probably didn't see them on the highlights. And Werner, what do you make of Werner? I mean, seriously, once again, he gets into that wonderful position. It was a great ball to him. His movement off the ball, everything about what he does is fabulous until he gets in front of goal and suddenly he's like a little boy lost. And it's a shame because if he had half a decent ability to finish, we would have a proper player. But I can't see him playing many matches on that form. But Bissouma's goal was absolutely sublime. I mean, absolutely, a little pass and move. And I was really, I'll declare it. My man of the first half was by a distance was Bissouma. I thought he was absolutely superb. And him and Sarr, you remember, they're still really good players and they're still really young players. And given a fair wind, you know, we've got a lot of good players. But anyone else want to argue with me, I guess, that Bissouma was the player of the first half?
No, he was man of the match, to be honest, the whole match. To be honest, I thought in the first half, I liked Skip. And before Bergvall went off, I liked it. I've been watching him mainly because I didn't have no qualms about Archie Gray settling into the side. He'll walk straight into the first team whenever he's picked. And these two players are not going to be waiting to be developed, but they're going in, right? They're going straight in. Let's be clear about this. Bergvall against Hearts, I think he had 55 touches. He had more touches in the final third than the other player. He's got vision. He finds space. He's got a good pass on him. The only criticism I've got is like recovery tackles. His recoveries didn't look great when he's lost the ball to try and get back and all that. I'm not sure he's that great a long ball passer either, but you don't necessarily have to be that in midfield. But so like Bergvall, even before he went off, I was disappointed because I wanted to see more of him, and I'm sure that him and Gray are going to be stars without a shadow of doubt. Without a shadow.
Yeah.
Ellie, you want to come in on that?
Because I thought Gray was okay. He done everything right in terms of progressing the ball and tackling. He's a tenacious, hard-working. You could tell he loves playing football. That's one thing I get from him. He enjoys his football, and it's nice and refreshing to see a young lad come in and, you know, really want to play for us. And I just hope it continues because, you know, he's only 18 and he's got a lot to learn, but he's learned so much in such a short time in his 18 years of life. And he's got a fantastic family behind him as well with a great football heritage. So he shouldn't go far off. You know, they say the apple doesn't drop too far from the tree. It's true with him because it's just he's a joy to watch, you know, and he puts that shirt on and he plays with pride, and he's got little Ollie Skip next to him who's like an unconventional defender, but he's worked his socks off because he's Spurs through and through as well. That's one thing you get with Ollie Skip. He might not be the most technical player, but he'll work hard. The thing is he good enough to take us to the next level? I would say no. We'll keep him as a squad player like we did with Davies. We're we're very loyal in that respect, but sometimes I feel we're a bit too loyal, you know. But in Skip's case, we've got to keep him anyway. Like Adrian's said on many occasions, that he covers, you know, the homegrown quota. So I just feel we probably lost it a little bit better than QPR. We moved the ball a bit quicker. In the second half, we're talking about the second half now. Can we talk about it?
Yeah, we may as well. Go on, Karen.
I was going to say, I don't know.
The second half, it was quite an exciting second half because it was end to end, lots and lots of stray balls, lots of brilliant balls. I think Lancashire missed the sitter, didn't he, in front of goal? He really should have scored, and so should have Werner. But I thought Solomon was very industrious, right? He was trying his best, but you could see he's off the pace. You know, you could see he's raw. He hasn't had much football under his belt, so we need to see him when he's at full pelt, because he's got the minerals to go past players. And he took one long ball, but what he did, I thought he was going to go for it, and he checked back, and I was so disappointed when he checked back, because I thought, go for it, Solomon, go for it, right? And he didn't, so I was really disappointed about that. But in terms of the young boys, Santiago's busy. Tyrese Hall got taken off again, which I was very disappointed. I thought he had, when he was on the ball, his class. He's like so relaxed. You know, he doesn't panic, right? I like him. And
I think you meant Mikey Moore was busy, not Santiago. I'd like to see him play.
Santiago didn't play.
I thought
Santiago didn't play. No, it's Mikey Moore, I think you mean.
Did Santiago play? Who was the foreign boy? I thought.
Are you too busy causing fights in the crowd?
Telling me that's Santiago. You know the darker looking boy. Who's he? The sort of mixed race sort of. He looked quite
Tyrese
dark.
Hall. Tyrese Hall.
Tyrese Hall though. He's not Tyrese Hall. He looks Mediterranean or Asian even.
You were too busy causing fights in the crowd, Ellie.
Yes, you know what I mean. Right, but there was a dark. On the left, there was a player who was very busy.
Are you talking about George Abbott?
Is that him?
Solomon?
Everybody was telling me that was Santiago. That's why I believed them.
No, Santiago didn't play.
No, I know what he looks like because I didn't take my glasses with me, and I was back from the crowd. I couldn't make him out, but everybody was saying that's Santiago. All right, so George Abbott, he was very busy, but so was Mikey Moore, like you mentioned. I just thought QPR were a bit unlucky, actually, because they had a lot of chances.
Yeah. I like George Abbott and Tyrese Hall, what I've seen of them, but neither of them impressed me when they came on the floor. I thought they were off it. And this is the difference with the youngsters, where we shouldn't get too carried away at times. I mean, go on, Ian.
Belief wasn't that good. I thought he was quite awful, actually. And Scarlett, he was very busy. He just come on, took his goal well. Didn't do anything much more than score, really. He didn't really do it much link-up play as such. But I just thought QPR deserved a draw in that instant. When we got the second goal, it just showed, right, that the young boys, they're probably better than the championship level in terms of what they can do and what they can offer. Whereas QPR played quite a lot of youngsters in the second half, but they were very good. They moved the ball very well. They scored a few goals. They were not for bad defending. We've done a few bits of bad defending, but we did some really last-ditch tackles, and they were just going past the post all the time. So, yeah, I think it would have been a fairer score on that second half performance if it had been a draw. What do you guys think?
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, someone telephoned me, and my sound and everything had dropped out, so I had to go back in. You've obviously started with the second half without me, which is good.
We'll just start with Ellie.
So chat in a minute.
George Abbott is the darker player.
Well, that was the second half team. Someone keeps checking.
These two boys in front of me were saying
Come on to the chat. Why does someone keep changing the chat? Can we stick on this? I'll go back to the chat in a minute. Just wanted to go back to the second half.
I'm not changing it. That's one thing.
So yeah, well, something's happening with it. So, again? I've missed some of it, but Spence again impressed me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've not discussed it much at all about the half. No, we haven't.
No, all right. Well, sorry, because okay. Well, let's go on, and we'll catch up with the chat in a minute. The boy Gunter in goal. Any thoughts about him? Because he's young.
I've watched him a lot this season. The kid is good. He's brave. He comes for balls. I mean, he commands his area well. His kicking's good. His distribution's good. He's a good young goalkeeper. But let's not forget, we got Josh Keeley, who was loaned out to Barnet. You got Brandon Austin, who was, I don't know if he's too old to be the under-21 goalkeeper now, as he's 24 going on 25 and just signed a 5-year contract. And you got Alfie Whiteman coming back from injury. I think Whiteman will probably go out on loan. Gunter's an excellent prospect. And Keeley was sent out loan because they thought, you're good, we need to give you more experience. So we're not short of potential when it comes to goalkeepers. We're not short. And they all look good. I mean, Gunter looked at some of the saves he made for the under-21s last year. They were incredible.
Yeah. You mentioned his distribution, Adrian. Jose, what do you think of the way he was trying to get the ball out quickly? That doesn't seem to be the way a Spurs goalkeeper has done it for a while. That really impressed me.
Yeah, I think both, right. There's a pattern. In the first 2 games, there's been a pattern, right? So I've heard Ellie talking about Scarlett and Villiers and stuff like that. Lancashire got 21 minutes yesterday. He got 22 against Hearts. Villiers then replaced him and got 15 minutes in both games, and the scraps were left for Scarlett in both games. Goalkeeper-wise, we used 3 keepers in the first game, with Gunter coming on and getting the last, 8 to 10 minutes against Hearts, but he got the second half yesterday against QPR. So there's a bit of a pattern. And when someone talked about Phillips earlier, Phillips didn't start the game, but got the full 45 in the second half. So what he's basically doing, he's putting minutes into people's legs. What I took from the game yesterday, and from the second half yesterday, is that Lancashire, Villiers, Scarlett, between the 3 of them, 2 will go out on loan, and only 1 may remain at the club. And I say maybe remains at the club. And for me, at the moment, I think it's Lancashire's definitely going on loan. I don't think he's staying at the club. I think Lancashire will be one of the ones that goes on loan. And then it's a toss-up between either Villiers or Scarlett, who stays, and the other one will probably go out on loan. I thought Divine had played well yesterday. I thought he came on. I thought he was neat and tidy. I thought it's like a sewing machine. He was stitching everything together, wasn't he? He looked really good on the ball, played the right pass, pressed at the right time, dropped off when he needed to. I thought he had a really, really good half of 45 minutes, and it's done him a world of good, Divine, yesterday. I think Phillips, for me, and I said this on a show earlier on today, for me, Phillips will start on Saturday against Vissel Kobe. If Dragusin's not back, right, because obviously Romania went out the Euros before Holland and that, and obviously before Argentina because they got to the final. So I don't think Van der Ven and Romero will make it. But if Dragusin's back, I think Dragusin starts Saturday as well against Vissel Kobe. If he's not back, I think he'll go in with Gray and Phillips. I think Phillips actually will get a start this time around. I thought Phillips, we all know, because Adrian keeps telling us, this guy is 6'4". And so on paper, he's 6'4", right? But Ellie, you saw him up and close. On telly, he looks like an absolute beast of a man.
He's like a rugby player. Honestly, he's massive. You can't go round.
And again, I thought Phillips yesterday did himself the world of good. In both games, I think Phillips played us really well. He's not put a foot wrong in both games. He's looked composed and assured. So he impressed me in the second half again. And Jed Spence, what can I say? For me, Jed Spence is a man possessed, and I hope that he's come back. Let's be factual here. Up till about 3 weeks ago, Journal are in talks with Tottenham about taking this player, and there was nobody talking about this player staying. I'm hoping that he's come back, because obviously he's been in Italy, he's been away from the crowd over here, i.e. his mates and stuff like that. He's knuckled down, because it's hard in Italy, second language and that. He's had to learn a new language. I hope he's knuckled down there. He's learnt from being out there. He's come back. And if he's had a word with Postecoglou and they've had a chat with each other, and he says, look, boss, I want to give it 130% this time round. I don't want to fall out. I think I've got a future here. I want to give it a real good go. And Ange gives him that opportunity, and the coaches, then we're saving ourselves money, because not long ago we were talking about spending 20 odd million on Vanderson. We don't need Vanderson if Spence continues on this trajectory and wants to stay. We save money in that position as well. Sorry, that was it, Ian.
No, sorry, Mark.
Yeah, the rain was terrible at Troon yesterday, and it was blowing a gale. Yeah, the weather in Scotland for them poor golfers, it was terrible. But that's about all I saw.
It's been terrible for 3 days in Troon. Today was all right, but it's been terrible.
Well, yeah. Well, it was windy. It was windy, but yesterday, especially the leaders in the final groups, like it was. Well, if it was me, I'd have walked in. I'd have said, "Stuff this, I'm off."
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
A bit of a shout out to both goalkeepers. Actually, who've shared the duties, because they've both pulled off excellent saves. The first one onto the bar, right, when Austin made that good save onto the crossbar, didn't he? You know, and then Gunter made that good save from that, which looks like it's just going to creep inside the post in the second half, didn't he? When QPR just put us under a bit of the pressure, I thought they were worth a draw, to be honest, right during the game.
Yeah,
I only saw the highlights for about 8 minutes. I think Tottenham put out the highlights.
But the thing, guys, something to mention, right? The referee. I mean, honestly, that push on Emerson Royal, and then he done him with his studs on his knee, and the referee didn't even give a free kick. Did you see that? Did you see that?
I was watching on QPR TV. It was the stream I managed to get, and they did say, I wonder what VAR would make of that. Obviously, Queen's Park Rangers don't have to worry about VAR, but Tottenham do. And I think that's one where the review might have come in.
Yeah,
I think if we're still talking about the goalkeepers, Adrian, for me, what I will say to finish off on the goalkeepers, I think we've seen enough already ourselves. If I was in the position, and I don't know the players well, but if I was in the position from what I can see from the outside in, I'm letting go of Forster now and Whiteman now. Let them both go, and then keep Gunter around. And obviously with Keeley, you have to make a decision. But Keeley and Gunter offer you more going forwards in the future than what Forster and Whiteman do.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Is Foster still here?
Yes,
he's
just
he's on a year's contract.
Yeah. Why has he not started any of the pre-season games?
He's injured, mate.
Oh, he's injured.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which has been a good thing, isn't it? It's been good.
Yeah,
you see him in the penalty shootout against Fulham, you know what I mean?
He just fell on the floor, didn't he? Like a lummox.
About 15 minutes after the ball had gone into the net.
If you're watching, I've got all the words for all the men today. Do you know what? He's not the best goalkeeper, and I don't think we should hold on to him, because he's old as well. He's like 37, 38 years old.
Well, he's not going anywhere this season, is he? He'll be gone. He'll be gone at the end of the season, and it doesn't mean to say he's going to get game time anyway, does it?
We currently have 27 players in our squad still at the club at the moment, first team players.
I know.
And that includes Whiteman and Foster, or Forster, whatever you want to call him. Take them two out, you're down to 25. Now, I know we've got to have a squad of 25, but then there's some players that we're still going to move on and sell before we bring some players in.
Guys, don't forget Forster counts as one of the 8 homegrown.
Yeah, but you know what I said? I don't want to go into a different conversation here, but I've got a question for you guys. Is it just Tottenham? Right, and I asked this question earlier. Is it just Tottenham, or is every club talk about homegrown and academy trained? Because I don't hear other clubs saying, "Oh my God, we haven't got enough homegrown. Oh my God, we haven't got enough academy trained."
No, but they don't have to, Jose, if they're not in Europe. Because you only need if they're not in Europe, you can have 8 ordinary home. You can buy 8 homegrown in.
Yeah,
but in Europe, you have to have them 4 academy trained. We got 5.
I don't hear Man City, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle, Aston Villa now that they're in it. I don't hear all these teams in the past 5 to 8 years talk about homegrown and academy trained. Tottenham, we talk about it every time we're in a campaign. We always talk about shit. Have we got enough? Have we got enough?
Well, that's because normally.
That's because the media bring it up.
But that's because normally, if we get any good academy ones, Levy sells them for vast profits.
Only one, and that was Kane. Anyone else he hasn't sold for a vast profit, has he?
Gareth Bell?
He weren't academy trained, though, was he?
No.
He came from Southampton.
I know he did, but he was only young, though, wasn't he? So he probably would have sneaked into the...
A youth player. Like he was, I think he was 18, 19 when he joined us, wasn't he? Something like that.
What, Gareth?
I think he was quite young, wasn't he? About 18,
yeah. It's 3 years, isn't it? 3 years before you're 21 or something for the academy.
Oh my God!
You were about to be there.
I've just seen the picture of Højbjerg training, flipping.
Big up to Peter as well in the chat. 5:45. That's a great effort,
in
mate.
Melbourne. Yeah,
that's a great effort. I certainly don't get up at 5:45 to watch streams.
Yeah, that's dedication for you. Spurs
that is
diehard.
dedication.
That's what you call a Spurs diehard.
Yeah.
What did you think, guys? We're going off on tangents all over the place here. What did you think of Divine's performance?
You asking me?
Asking all of you, basically. I just wanted to get.
I've already said it.
Yeah, he's very busy. Very busy, tenacious, hardworking, got vision. Always looking for that through ball, to play that killer pass. Sometimes it came off, sometimes it didn't, because they intercepted it. But I thought he looked tidy, very neat player. And he's got a lot of class as well. You can tell he loves playing football as well, because he's buzzing around the football pitch. Yeah, I liked him. And he reminds me he looks a bit like Charlie, our Charlie, who comes on the show. I was looking at him thinking he looks a lot like Charlie, but he's still young and he's still learning the game, right? So he's not the finished article yet in my book, but he's got more vision than most of the other youngsters. The way he's looking for the through ball, which I like. And he does it for England as well. So he's very consistent with that. His loan spells were okay when he was on loan, but I just feel that he needs more game time, because that's how you develop, getting more game time under your belt. So let's see.
Yeah. The only issue with Plymouth when Phillips did better was because when he went to Plymouth with Phillips, they went there mainly because when they were a young England side, they were the same coaches that had moved on to Plymouth, so they knew them, so they went there. But then since they went there, the coach or manager, what I call him, has left, and he's favoured Phillips. Divine hasn't sort of been his flavour, I suppose, or not suited the system. But
Rooney's at Plymouth now.
Yeah, well, he may want them back, but he might not get them. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we can talk about that later.
So a few thoughts from me. I like the 2 young goalkeepers we've got. I didn't realise Forster was at the club for another year. I think he's. I could see any of Whiteman, Gunter, Austin. What's the other lad's name?
Keeley.
Keeley. Being on the bench. I mean, I genuinely think we need someone to give Vicario some serious competition as well. I mean, he is a wonderful, wonderful goalkeeper in terms of his shot stopping, but I do worry about the fact that he gets bullied at set pieces so badly, and our defenders' inability. I mean, someone like Dragushin would be able to help with that, but I don't know that he's going to be a starter. dry roasted peanut. Everyone's got to call him it's Lancashire, not Lancashire. There's no third A in it. It's Lancashire, not Lancashire. So, yep, you're absolutely right. We need to all get that right. Spence impressed me again, and as someone has said, if his attitude is right, and there was a lot of talk that we were looking for a cover for Porro, then job done, and he's as good as anybody. In fact, I said on the show last week, I think if he can play like that, I could see Porro playing further forward and giving Johnson a run for his money, because I think Porro will offer at least as much in that final third, and does. I mean, what else? I must say, I really liked Devine. And someone's brought up our lovely lad Moore, and again, I mean, it probably wasn't his best performance. What's interesting, I thought, Adrian, is he was absolutely gobsmacked when he didn't score with that chance. And it just coming up a level, instead of playing, youth team players and what have you, he's up against an experienced professional goalkeeper.
Was it Bergvall or was it Kulu who put him through for that chance? I can't remember.
No, I thought it was more the one where the goalkeeper.
The one more missed it, but I think he was fed. The keeper saved it, but Bergvall, I think it was Bergvall or Kulu put the ball through.
But Bergvall had long gone off. I'm talking about the second half.
It would have been Kulu. Yeah, but he's still seeing. We can talk about Mikey Moore. I love him to death, as well as I do Devine. I mean, he popped up on the right for England guys. For those you don't know in the chat,
he's on the left.
On the left, right?
Yeah.
But he can play anyway through the middle, basically anyway on a front three. So he's in the game. I'm watching him. He's playing on the right. He's dropping in the middle, and then when Scarlett gets his goal, it's from his cross, and he's on the left. He's on the left. And he puts the cross in for Scarlett to score right at the end. I mean, the kid. I mean, I've never seen a kid that young that's got such a centre of gravity that can change feet, is so well balanced, doesn't matter, that's got the vision. He can quicken and slow the pace of the game. He quickens the slow of his pace. He'll either start slowly. He's always looking around when he's moving. Then he'll have a short burst or come back. But if you give him 5 or 7 yards in midfield, he'll charge at you like an express train. I'd have him in that 25-man squad tomorrow, without a shadow of a doubt. And would I play him instead of Werner? I think you know the answer to that, right?
But with Mikey Moore, he doesn't have to be in the 25. He just be on the B list. He will be in the first team squad next year, but without having to be named in the 25. You're quite right. He plays off the left-hand side. He's right-footed predominantly, plays off the left. But Tottenham yesterday played him on the right, and you're quite right. The ball that to set up Spence's goal, it was him with the outside on the left-hand side with the outside of his right foot. The ball was a sublime one on the outside of his right foot for Spence to score that second goal.
Yeah, and I was pleased for Scarlett. Sorry, Scarlett.
Yeah. Right.
I was pleased for him because I've watched him, and I know Ellie's watched him over a few seasons when we've had a chance before we had Spurs playing, things like that. And like, you got fans now arguing over like Velez, Lancashire, Scarlett, Donnelly even. I mean, I can see at least maybe 3 or 4 of these young players will be, because they're younger on the B list, will be part of that first team squad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I certainly can see Phillips and Moore and Lancashire. And I'm going to tell you, I don't agree. I'm not sure I agree with Jose about. I mean, I don't see Lancashire going on loan. I really don't. I think he would benefit so much from being around the first team and the first team coaches and getting some game time. I think he's got something. We've had this discussion. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I just think he's got a bit of presence out there. I think he's rotating this front three to decide. I think one will definitely go away. I'm not sure 2 will, unless we bring in 2 centre forwards, because I'm sort of thinking he'll get rid of Rishi and bring in one other, a top player, a Tony or a Jonathan David or whatever. And then if he's got Scarlett and Lancashire, people in the chat, whether you think he's strong enough. Yeah, well, I think one will go. I think Velith will go on loan. I think there was talk he would go again on loan. I don't think he can keep three relatively inexperienced players and one sort of one experienced international. That would be my view. I mean, I think Devine now is ready to step up. Phillips, I think, ready to step up. Bergvall, I think will be involved. Moore has to be involved. Because
and
he's
Devine.
that good.
I would involve Devine as well. I definitely would.
Yeah, well, I think I said Devine.
All right, sorry.
And if Spence can do the job, but that comes down to it can't all be kids. It can't all be kids. So we'll come on to.
Sorry, Ian, I have to disagree with you, mate. I really do. Honestly,
that's what it's about.
Right? For me, Lancashire definitely goes out on loan. Lancashire goes out on loan. I think that the fact that he only played 20 odd minutes and stuff like that, I think he'll go out on loan. He's 19 still, and I think he's the one that will go out on loan. I think the toss up is going to be between Veliz and Scarlett. And when you look at it, who's got the most experience out of all three strikers? It's actually Veliz. Veliz has played first team football. He played for Veliz Sarsfield before Tottenham signed him. So he's actually got more first team experience than the other two. But Scarlett's been around a while now. So that's what I'm saying. It's a hard one for me to call on who they keep.
Scarlett's 20 now, and he's got a good goal scoring record for England. And because Lancashire's got 23 goals in 22 games for the under-21s, you understand the hype around him. If Scarlett comes in, when you play a pre-season friendly, you're a striker. If you don't score, suddenly to half the fan base, you're rubbish. I know Scarlett. I watched Scarlett playing them under 21s before this crop came through, because last year they were nearly relegated, believe it or not. And when you get a player out of 22 players on a field stands out, Scarlett used to stand out head and shoulders above others. You know, you've had others that done it in the past when they were in the under 21s, like Skip did, Harvey White did, Marcus Edwards did, things like that. But he used to stand out. He's underrated. He got a nice goal against Shakhtar Donetsk when Kane got his 4 before he left.
Fabulous goal that was.
Yeah,
brilliant.
And like, I rate him. I don't know if he'll have a successful career at Spurs, but I rate Scarlett a lot more, probably because I've seen him, right, more than other fans do. But I don't think other fans are seeing him and they're just going on like what they've looked at recently. That's why I get the hype around Lancashire. Yeah. I mean, I don't care. I want to see some of these youngsters in this squad, and that's a nice headache for Ange to have. But look, let him pick the ones he wants, and we'll see. We'll get an insight into his thinking,
Yeah, we'll certainly know it probably end of the 2 weeks today. I think we'll have a pretty good idea where his thinking is.
That's a good call.
But we'll come on to transfers as well. Yeah. What do you the Ian versus Jose about who's going on loan and who's staying? Adrian, what's your view of that?
What who's going and staying? Well, I would keep. Moore's too young to go on loan.
No, we're talking about the three strikers.
The forwards.
Veliz, Lancashire, and Scarlett.
I want to see Veliz given his chance. We paid that money for him, right? I've looked at him in previous videos. He looks good. I think when he come on against Brighton, although we shot ourselves in the foot during that game, that was a tenacious goal he got there, right? He showed grit. He showed aggression, which I like to see among strikers. And then there was the home game when he got injured and wouldn't come off. And even though he was limping, he still wanted to continue playing. I forget who it was against, right? I like his attitude. I like him. Good in the air. And he's quick as well. He's no slouch, right? So, and I want to see more of him. I want to see more of him in his next 2 games. What will be really interesting, we haven't even got up to that yet, but them 2 last games against Bayern Munich away and at home they're going to be very revealing about who's going to be among the 15 or 16 players that Angie's going to pick to start first game of the season.
Yeah.
So I would keep Veliz, Lancashire as well, and Scarlett. Take your pick. One of them's going to have to go out on loan, but I would keep one of them. And
I wanted you to say which one.
I'd keep Scarlett. I'd send Lancashire on loan. He's 19.
Okay,
He's got time. I'd keep Scarlett and
I'm
Villiers.
saying two. I'm saying that two are going.
Right?
No, but I'm saying two are going.
You're both off the street.
Oh, two are going.
I'm saying two. No, but I'm saying two are going, Ian. I think that two will go out of the three on loan.
Okay. Man of the match for the second half. Any thoughts, and then we'll move on.
I thought Basuma was man of the match overall.
Jed Spence. Again.
Basuma scores the goal. Good first half. No,
but he said man of the match second half.
Second half.
Second half.
Yeah, I'll give it to Jed Spence as well because he was brilliant. The amount of tackles he put in and blocks he put in, and he worked so hard. I was very impressed with him because I thought his career was over at Spurs, but I think he's revived it. I reckon he's put his face in the picture, and I think Postecoglou will be having second thoughts to ship him out again. Just put it that way.
If they've had the conversation, Ellie.
I think they have, because he wouldn't be playing all of the time, and he's put his faith in him now, right? The proof in the pudding is when if he plays him over Porro and pushes Porro more forward, maybe, and drops this right wing back position and just has a straight left back and a straight right back and a winger, as in Porro, right? He could do that, but I very much doubt he will, because he likes his philosophy and he likes his right wing backs inverting as midfielders, doesn't he? So I don't think we're going to see that. Possibly he'll be on the bench when Porro, but I would say Porro would start still over Jed Spence. And then maybe if Porro drops his form, then I think Jed Spence will be waiting in the wings. And every opportunity that he gets, right, if he does have him in his plans, I think he'll take it with both feet again, because he was very impressive.
Mark?
Yeah. Yeah, well, obviously I never watched it, so my man of the match should have to be Xander Schauffele.
Yeah.
No, but
wasn't the coffin bunker on the left-hand side of the eight?
Yeah.
My man of the match second half, Alfie Devine. Okay. I thought he was neat touch, tidy on the ball. I thought he had more of the ball than Spence had, and I was really pleased to see it, right? Because he could end something more to think about. You could give it a Spence, you could give it a Devine. I don't think anyone else was outstanding. I was actually because I've seen these kids play well so many times. That's why I was disappointed in Tyrus Hall and George Abbott. George Abbott, normally, for those who don't know, he's a tenacious midfielder, ball winner, defensive midfielder who has sat in the back four for the under-21s. You notice a lot of our players are very versatile, and they're not just a jack of all trades, master of one. They're good in a specific position, but they can double up, right?
Yeah.
I thought George Abbott was a bit sloppy. I thought Tyrus Hall was well off the pace, but Spence, good. Hope we keep him. It might save us a fortune in a transfer market as well by keeping him. So something's gone on for him to have so much game time under Ange. The words have been spoken, and but I'm going to. I'll give it to Devine. Right, because I just think he's come on. He showed a lot of people haven't seen him how tidy and neat a player he is.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we'll move on, but Andrew's got some decisions to make in terms of which of these kids are going to be promoted and be proper members of the first team squad, and which maybe need to go away on loan. And of course, where and Mark could be the first to say this. I know others will agree that you're still going to need experienced players in the side.
Yeah.
You can't have the team run entirely with kids, much as it will be exciting. We're not going to win trophies with kids. Right, guys, we've been going nearly an hour. So let's talk about somebody.
I wonder who likes him.
And I wonder who that might be. And I wonder who I might ask about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who is leaving the club. And Jose is playing a violin. Yeah.
I just saw a lovely picture of him training.
So,
I know.
Yeah.
It's so sad. What am I going to do with myself? I have to change my name again. I have to take the voodoo doll out of everybody's hands because they hate him. Like a lot of people on YouTube, they don't like him, but there's a few that do, but there's not that many. But on his Instagram, everybody loves him. Everybody loves Højbjerg. And they're mostly Danish fans, like I said before. They absolutely adore him in Denmark because he plays fantastic for them. And for the first 2 years, you must admit, lads, that first year under Jose, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
Honestly, he was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. The second year, he was really good with Bentancur, and then he dropped out of favour with Postecoglou. So, you know, when he came out and made that statement, you've got to ask the manager why I'm not playing, right? But he still stayed professional. He stayed on the bench getting the splinters on his bum. And when he came on, he did make a few errors, I must admit. Because he's not, like I said, he's not used to passing the ball quickly. He doesn't like it. He's a more methodical player who likes to think about it before he passes the ball. You know, and maybe he hasn't got the loose hips, you know, to move quickly. He hasn't. But what he lacks in that, he makes up in other areas. But at the end, I wish him good luck. If it is Olympic Marseille that he's going to have a lot of nice French cuisine. And I'm sure his wife is happy because she's in the fashion world of the universe. So I'm sure she's going to be happy and spending on his credit card as well, probably. Right? Sorry, Mrs. Højbjerg, but you probably will be. And I just wish him luck because he is a fantastic professional. He's not everybody's cup of tea, we know that. But he was definitely my cup of tea because I've always liked players like him who work hard and play for the badge.
Yeah, just go on.
For me, he's come to us. We got him for 15 million from Southampton, 3 million if you include KWP. If you're not including him, it's 15 million. He did well. He was a round peg in a round hole for a couple of years for us, meaning that he fitted the system that we played. However, as we've moved away from that system and that, he's not become a bad player overnight. He just doesn't fit the style we play. I thank him for his service and I wish him all the very best when he moves on to Marseille. The one thing I wanted to say though, right, is Adrian, I know you work so hard on your Facebook page, putting out all the columns of all what the ITKs are saying and all that. But these ITKs, they drive us as a fan base. They drive us mad because these ITKs walk around with AK-47s and they spray bullets everywhere, hoping that one will hit. Now, we were told that Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and I'm sure Adrian, you've covered this in a lot of your stuff. He was going to Atletico Madrid. He was going to Galatasaray. He was going to Fulham, and he was going to Napoli. Yesterday, within about 3 hours, it broke he's going to Marseille, and 3 hours later, we got the here we go, which means that Tottenham Hotspur, right, are not. So it means that our own people within are not giving out feelers to the public and that, so nobody knows what Tottenham are doing. And what it then does, it frustrates us as a fan base because then we don't know who we're going for and who we're likely to get in. But long for me, however frustrating it may be, long may it continue, because not letting anyone know what your business is probably stands you in good stead as a club rather than everyone knowing your business.
Yeah, well said, Jose. Just to get on Norman Lamont's question about our academy trained, we have 5 that I know of. You've got Whiteman, Austin, Skip, Sarr, and Niall John, who turned 21 in March. Right, so we got 5, and as for the academy, the 8 totaling for 8 homegrown. You've still got Johnson, you've got Ben Davies, you've got Madison. Right, so now you've got 8 already there, without adding probably Ashley Phillips. You know, no, he's too young. What am I talking about? Well, I'm sure there's Spence if he stays. Right, You know, so we haven't got no homegrown problems. We could even sell Skip, and we still got 4 academy trained if it happened. So that could still happen because you got Niall John as well as Pepsar. We've done 3 years.
You could sell Niall John and Alfie Whiteman because they're not needed, and you could just promote 2 players from your B list.
You could
to your A list.
The interesting thing with the academy trained, and an academy trained, as you know, or just to inform the chat, has to be a player who's been 3 years with your academy before his 21st birthday. It's not just a question of having 4. You can have the 4, the quota. It's whether Ange wants those 4, because it wouldn't be any good having 4 useless players to take up academy trained places if Ange didn't want them in the squad, didn't want them as part of his squad. He's got to want them, isn't he? Otherwise, like you said, Jose, you're better off promoting B-list players then. But then you can't, in my understanding, you can't then send them back once they've been.
No. Once they come off the list, they're on your A list for good.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Ronnie's just asked a question in here. Ronnie, he's been sold for £17 million, but that is a loan with an obligation to buy next season, which means that overall the deal, Tottenham have made £2 million on a player that's actually played for us. We bought and has played for us for 4 years, 5 years.
Do you know what? It's interesting that it's a loan, right? Because I'm thinking, right, if Spurs don't have a good start and, you know, we fluff our lines and we don't really perform, I think Pierre-Emile Højbjerg be coming back with Pochettino because he likes that.
No, Ellie, what it is that De Zerbi's gone there. Marseille have bought other players and they haven't got the money to go out and buy outright again. So that's why
they've loaned him, haven't they?
Yeah, it's a loan, but they'll buy him next season because they can't.
That's just because they stay within the new squad cost ratio.
It's a loan. It's not a permanent move. It's a loan, isn't it?
It's a loan with an
obligation to buy.
Ellie,
they've got
so they have to buy him.
Yes,
we've had players out on loan before, and we've signed them for a loan.
And when we to Marseille, then
when we wanted to bring players back in January, we couldn't because we've signed the agreement. They're loaned for a year.
He's getting on a bit though, Pierre. He's 29. He's coming to the end of his career. They've been showing his goal against Marseille all afternoon.
Ellie, he's 29, coming towards the end of his career. Players nowadays, bare minimum, can play to their 35 comfortably.
I don't know.
Not coming towards the end of his career.
He's still got that really hard role. That's really grueling. That's
Ellie, you've got to snip the apron strings. You've got to snip the apron strings and let him go.
Most players,
let him leave the nest. You've got to let him leave the nest.
Ellie,
I'm gonna let him leave my dungeon. Just put it that
way. Ellie, look at Daniel's comment. It's an obligation to buy. It's a
There's
contract.
no recall. Okay, listen, I didn't understand because I just saw it flash up that it was a loan. I didn't know all the ins and outs. Now you fellas have just told me even more rotten news.
Can you not become Queen like before?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to be buying the Marseille shirt with his name on anyway. Just put
I thought you'd changed to Queen Ellie Bentoncourt.
Well, I did until I boxed him. He started playing pants, so everybody told me to go back to Højbjerg.
Well, yeah, and plus Bentoncourt throws things in the crowd.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, there's no point. There's no point going for that.
Ellie, as long as Postecoglou is the manager at Tottenham Hotspur,
he did like him. He did like him because he brought him on quite often. Yeah. He didn't dislike him. He just thought he wasn't that type of player to start a game. He didn't fit. He didn't fit the bill.
Postecoglou's, come on, you're a coach. Postecoglou's system requires that number 6, a player, to be really versatile, mobile, to be able to really drive forward with the football. And I don't think that player is.
That's the type of player he likes. He likes a box-to-box number 6 rather than a holding one, doesn't he?
And I think
it doesn't fit the bill. Right. He's moved on. Good luck to him, you know. And all I can say is that I like the player, but you know, I can move on. We've lost much better players than Højbjerg, Just put it that way. And we've cried a lot of tears when those players have left. So I won't be shedding a tear. I'll just wish him good luck. That's all. I hope he has a good career.
Adrian, you know they said that we were linked with El Nesri.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fabrizio Romano's broken 2 hours ago. But Fenerbahce are closing in on the final details for El Nesri deal. So this is what I'm talking about, the in the nose, spraying their AK-47s and hoping that one bullet lands.
Fenerbahce are in a deal for whom, Jose?
Yusuf El Nesri, the Sevilla centre forward.
Yeah. Moroccan international.
Right, okay.
Absolute beast.
Was he coming to Tottenham?
Well, there was in the nose and that we were linked to him as well.
I don't take any notice of it. But I don't take any notice of all that nonsense that's on Facebook and Twitter, and it's a load of rubbish.
We'll be hearing more about Solanke today as well. You know, I mean, like
it is rubbish.
The only player we've not been linked with that I think that we might be interested in is Adrian. To be honest with you, I mean, it's the number of players that, and you're probably right that we're in for players, and we're going to talk about some players, and then we're not, and what have you. But there's not, and it's quite right. I mean, I remember some of the big deals. I mean, I can remember when we signed Luka Modric, for example. It got announced one Saturday morning, and there hadn't been a whisper about it.
No.
When we signed the Argentines, that was just completely out the blue. No one had got a whisper of it.
And Rafa van der Vaart. Rafa van der Vaart was like that as well.
Come out of left wing, Rafa van der Vaart.
Yeah.
And Jurgen Klinsmann turns up in the Volkswagen Beetle outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and then
there's
he becomes
another
our player.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Let's talk about the ins and outs that we know and what we may know and what have you.
He plays for Man United.
Let's talk about the outs first. Continuing talk about Lo Celso going to Aston Villa and Ramsey coming to us. Adrian, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I understand any media speculation regarding Aston Villa because we've nicked three our staff. We took Frederick Leff, who's head of strategy. We took Johan Lange, who's our director of football, and we've took Milo Jedinek, Australian captain, coach, from there as well. And they'll know the Villa squad like the back of their hand. I'm surprised we haven't been linked with more Villa players, if that's the case. You know, they've done quite well. Is there anything in it? There's been that rehash story. I mean, a while back, we offered 20 million to Lo Celso. They said no. So what? Anything that's happened since is that Lo Celso's had a great assist in the Copa America for the winning goal for Argentina.
Yeah.
And suddenly we've offered the same. There's 19 million now in Lo Celso for Jacob Ramsey. I don't know, like Jose said, if this is the old scattergun effect again from the media. They've got nothing else to report at the moment. You're going to get a lot more of this in the next 2 weeks, though. Well, and the reason go on.
When do we fly to Japan? Because it strikes me that
Tuesday. It's either tomorrow or Tuesday.
Because Daniel Coyson, I put that up as this transfer window is getting frustrating. I mean, I appreciate we've had the Euros, we've had the Copa America. It's very difficult. And then players need to get some rest and go on holiday. But at some point, if we're getting players in before the start of the season, we need to get them in, and they need to go on the tour. They need to integrate, etc.
Well, I think
they've got till Tuesday then to get them in.
My
no, because you can still buy players. Sorry, chats. I think if Tottenham were to sign any players by Thursday, they'll still fly out to Japan.
Yeah.
Even though later, I think they'll still fly out.
My thinking on the transfer window, which has been relatively quiet for most clubs, apart from Man United, always throw money around like it's going out of fashion, right? Is that it will be busy in the next 2 weeks because for all clubs, and the reason I say that is because you've only got 4 weeks of the season. Surely you'd want to get players in and have at least 2 weeks with them before ideally you want a month with them, but I mean, like, surely you'd want to get them in with at least 2 weeks. So I can see the press will there'll be less rumours in the future because there's going to be more concrete deals done in this next 2 weeks, I think, because clubs will want them in. They'll want them in at least a couple of weeks before the season. Otherwise, these players are not going to have a pre-season. They're not going to have it, are they?
No. So
that's
I mean,
my thinking on it. I mean, whether I'm right or wrong, we'll wait and see. And the rumor is with Spurs,
I'm starting to get frustrated.
Yeah.
But by the same token, maybe the players that we want have been involved in the tournaments and are on holiday and what have you. I mean, I'll give you one example. I read, and again, I appreciate the ITK's maybe scattergun, but I read on from someone, it may have even been from Alistair Gold, that we have been in touch with Jonathan David's representatives for every day for the last...
Stay away from him. He's useless. Stay away from him. He's two bob, as I call it. He's a two bob player. He's not good enough. Stay away from him.
He fits the profile, though. He's 24.
He can be 24, but you can be 24 with something about you, or 24 and be two bob, and he falls in the latter, I'm afraid. But what I will say is, I know what you're saying, Ian, what you just said about the Copa and the Euros, right? But by the other side of the token, Spain won the Euros, didn't they? And 2 days after, Morata was announced by AC Milan, and Lenormand has left Real Sociedad and was signed by another Spanish club. Within 2 days of finishing it, Joshua Zirkzee, who was with Holland in the Euros, has now been signed by Man United. So therefore, a lot of these deals with the agents, as you guys well know, would have been done in the background and stuff like that. So if Tottenham, if we're really saying the Euros and the Copa, then we're hanging our hats in the fact that Tottenham are after players that were playing in them tournaments. Now, what ends up happening if we sign players that weren't at them tournaments? Then what was the delay?
Well, players on holiday, I suppose. I mean, some would have been on holiday.
Like who, Adrian, but they're all back in pre-season, all the players that weren't in these tournaments.
Yeah, true. That's a point. That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, well, and the other thing is maybe our priorities were the ones that were away. Like, as I hope and pray, right? Maybe they were players that were away and they're waiting for them to come back before making a final decision. If we've got 3 or 4 players in each position, the rumours, Ange came out with a very telling quote. He said, which I found a little bit disturbing. He said, we're still looking to bring another couple in. Well, that tells me definitely promoting youngsters, because I wanted another 4 minimum in this window, let alone the next one.
Well, Paul O'Keefe yesterday was reporting, Adrian, it's all broken everywhere. Paul O'Keefe was reporting that Tottenham are bringing in 3 players.
Yeah, and I've heard that updated to 3. If there's a left back included, I'm all on board with that. If it's a left back, Eze, and a striker, that'll do. You know, I don't think you'll get more than that. We've got cover at right back with Archie Gray, haven't we? And if Spence stays as well. So I think left back should be a priority. I know we've got Davies for this last season, right? But I think left back, striker, and Eze, because we got 7. It's the front 3 that alarm me the most. We got 7 midfielders at the moment, right? We know our back 4, 5 really, and Vicario are fine. We got 7 midfielders, haven't we? We got 4 that they're good on when they're all on form, in like Sarr, Bentancur, Basuma, and Maddison, and now you're adding Skip, Archie Gray, and Bergvall to that. So that's 7. So we need
Kulu.
And Kulu, if you want to include him now in the midfield, that's 8. But then it's the front 3 that need to fix. We're an urgent need of getting goals, you know. So like, and we want a left back. I mean, when we were challenging Jose, when we were challenging under Poch, we had the desk. You know, we had D for Dele, E for Ericsson, S for Son, K for Kane. Look how many goals them 4 got. 4 would get us in the season. Son and Kane would get us 45, right, and cups and all that, right, between them. And we got to look to get at least 90 goals to win the league. And that's what we should be aiming for, going to win the league. And I've been banging it on every podcast I've been in. I don't care we bring in as long as they score goals. That's why I'm not a fan of Werner. He's not a bad footballer. He's intelligent football, takes up space, got a load of pace and all that. But he couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo, could he?
Do you know what? Yesterday, I think you lot have been harsh, though, because the ball that was put through to him when he went running through, right? Yeah. He ran, you're quite right, he ran away from, ran wider. But the reason why he ran wider was he was trying to see if he's going to get clipped by the defender. We would have got a penalty if he got.
I think the reason he runs away, Jose, is because he's got goal mouth phobia. It's a new disease. It's just like he's got goal mouth phobia. He's frightened of the goal mouth.
Yeah.
It him when he gets in front of goal, you know. And he's a good football. You don't be like he is a good. I'm not doubting he's a good football. I'm not going to say he's shit or slack. I don't do that with players.
I will.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, how can you say he's no good in front of goal, right? He's not particularly brilliant on the wing. He makes room for himself, but hardly anybody passes to him. So that tells you something. Because I've seen him, right? He makes so many good runs, but nobody passes to him because they don't trust him, right? And I just think he's an all-round average footballer. He's not a brilliant footballer. He doesn't make space for himself in the box, and he doesn't make an angle for himself to score. And when the ball comes to him, he doesn't, you know, and he's lost his marker. He doesn't anticipate and get his body shape right to score a goal. Case in point against Newcastle, it came to him. He made the space for himself for once. He got away from the defender, and he completely muffed it. So he's goal shy, the boy. He doesn't score. Why would we want to sign a player on loan when we could have given it to another better player?
Because
165 grand, 165,000 a week.
That's a lot of money.
But he suits it. Look, when you go back to January,
he suits our system.
He's rubbish. Just get rid of him.
Yeah.
Right. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to explain why Ange brought them in, whether you like him or not. Why Ange brought him in.
I don't think Ange brought him in.
He did, Ellie. He did. He did, because we've got him twice now. That's not an accident. He did. Yeah, but right in January when he came in, right? He was an opportunist signing. Ange wanted him. Why? Right? Look at Ange's system. He likes two wide wingers with pace, right? Who hug the touchline. Johnson, who I didn't want, and Werner, who I didn't want. Right, fit the system. What happens now, beginning of the season? He gets brought in again. That is not a fluke. If Ange didn't want him, we wouldn't have took him again and on loan. Ange wanted him. So this is Ange's responsibility. And I'll hold him to it. And I like Ange, don't get me wrong. But I don't actually think Ange has been given a lot to think about already in his pre-season without a couple more signings. I agree. I don't know if Mark said it earlier, whatever, that don't think he's going to get much game time this season. He might.
I bloody hope not.
Yeah.
I hope he becomes the car park attendant.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you think?
Well, we should never have signed him in the first place. He's obviously not good enough.
Why?
We got youngsters better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And he's taken up a large chunk of the wages. Was it 165,000 a week?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
The way to the bank.
That's ridiculous. You know, for that. You know, it's all I expect from Tottenham these days. I don't expect anything, to be honest.
I mean, what worries me a minute? I agree. I think we're pretty well. Yes, okay. If Spence stays, great. We've got Dragusin and potentially Phillips as backup central defenders. We've got Davis, but. Yes, I think we need another left back. I think someone asked in the chat a long while ago who replaces PEH. And I think, to be honest with you, you've got Bissouma, particularly on yesterday's form. I think you've got Bentancur can play there. I think Sarr can play there. The player I think who will make that spot his own is Archie Gray. I think he's tailor-made to play that number 6 role. If you've got Maddison as one of your inside forwards, if I can call it that, if any of you are old enough to remember what an inside forward is, we'll maybe come on to Edsy. But you've got Devine as backup as well. Bentancur, because I think there's some interchangeability there. So there's plenty of players, and Bergvall I think will play some part. You got plenty of players there, but it's that front 6 that's really worrying me. I mean, let me say about the left-hand side, and this is what really bothers me. You've got Son, who I just haven't seen it for the last year and a half, and I'm still bothered that he's gone. Basically, he's got past that 31-year-old, and he's not. I hope he proves me wrong, but he's not the player he was. You've got Mana Solomon, decent but not a top 4 player. You've got Werner, and I'm with you tactically. I know exactly why he's there, because he makes the runs, he creates the space, he does everything that Ange wants of a player in one of his advanced wide players, but he doesn't score. So to me, you've got a problem there unless you're going to start relying on a 16-year-old week in, week out, and that's not going to happen. So you've got 4 players there, and I worry if any of them are any good. Then your centre forward, you've got Richarlison, and who else? Because then that's one of the reasons why I was asking about the kids, about the Scarlet, the Lancashires, and the Velithis. I personally think we need at least 2 there, and to let Richarlison go, if we can get a market for him. Then you've got the right-hand side. You've got Kulusevski, who I don't fancy. I'm not a fan in the system. You've got Johnson. Yeah, breakout season for Johnson. But does he score enough goals? No. So I think we've got real problems. And Adrian, you're the one that's pointed out the number of goals that we score, as opposed to the number of goals that, say, City and Arsenal scored, and where we need to find another 30 goals or something from.
Let me be honest with you now, right? Now, if this was any other Premiership team, right, Sonny would have been sold. Because he's not. Because, all right, that comment there about he's our best player, but
I don't agree with that. But anyway,
well, no, but he's not as good as he was.
No,
you know, if this was Man United back in the day with Sir Alex, he'd have sold him.
The issue I have with that, when people start getting on Son's case,
I'm not on Son's case. I'm just saying he's lost it a little bit.
Well, he scored 16 goals last season, 1 less than when he shared the golden boot with Salah. He hasn't lost his goal scoring instinct. He's the only striker we got that can score with both feet. He can score from outside the box and from inside the box. He can still beat a man. He might have the afterburners to blast from the halfway line, or like the goal he scored against Burnley from out box down the other end. He might have lost that bit of pace. He's not slow, though. Sprinters now, you look at Usain Bolt and players. They're running as fast as ever at 36 years of age. He isn't. I think it's a myth. People saying that Sonny's slow and all this. He isn't. He isn't slowed down. People ought to go and get the stats. He hasn't slowed down. And in comparison, if you're asking me, would I keep Son over Johnson and Werner and Richarlison every day of the week? Because until you can replace him with something equally as good or better, you stick with him. I get his age and people think we'll sell him. I get that angle, right? But he's just about to have his contract extended for the year. So we've got him for a season or 2 now. I think we've got.
Well, we're not going to sell him.
No,
we're never going to sell him because of the money he brings in.
Exactly as well.
That's the only reason he's there.
It's just like fans need to put a bit more thought into it, especially when we're talking about a front three, which Ian rightly said it's pants, right? And our midfield was pants towards last season as well. They've got to step up. I'm confident we've virtually got lots of permutations where we can try and fix the midfield. That's not an issue for me now. I like what I'm seeing even from the youngsters. But up front, that's my biggest concern. Goals is my biggest concern. At the moment, we've got 1 striker, and that is Sonny. And the other, even Kulu got 8 goals.
He's not a striker.
Well, even Kulu got 8 goals last season. What was a poor season by his standards. We'd all like to see Kulu, show us what he showed us in his debut season. He's only been with us 18 months, Kulu, or 2.5 seasons, is it? Because he came in January transfer window, Kulu, and hit the ground running, didn't he, under Conte and that, So, and Kulu got 8 goals last season. Well, Johnson only got 5. I don't know how many Werner got. I don't think he got many. I think he might have got 4. And Richarlison was half injured. I mean, I hope and pray by some miracle that Richarlison's free of his injury problems, and
he won't be at the club, Adrian.
Well, fair enough. Well, if he goes,
Right.
he goes. I don't mind if he goes.
The word that's coming out, Adrian, right?
Yeah, I've heard Saudi again.
Yeah, no. The word that's coming out, whether it's true or not, is that Tottenham are really disappointed in Richarlison.
Fine.
Right. So they've bought a player, and Richarlison is right. So with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, right? Love him or loathe him, he was always fit and available to play.
Yeah.
But with Richarlison, Tottenham are disappointed in him because he never seems to be fit. He was unfit at the start of the season. Then he got his run in the side from Christmas to February and done quite well. And then he's been injury plagued since then. He's now injured again in pre-season. And Tottenham are disappointed in him, saying that he's not fit to play and they can't rely on him. And that's why now Tottenham...
What do you mean he's injured again? What do you mean he's injured again?
Richarlison's injured.
Half injury.
He's injured again. That's why he's not been playing in the friendlies, and he's not.
Is this the one he picked up at the end of the season?
Yeah.
No. I think he came back and he got injured again. He came back from that and he's got a recurrence of an injury.
Yeah. He wasn't picked by Brazil though, was he?
No, because he was injured. But he's come back from that injury and he's picked up another injury, calf injury now, and he's out. And he's definitely not going on the tour either. He's not fit. Ben Davies is not going on the tour. Foster's not going on the tour. These players are all injured and not going on the tour. And that's why the word coming out of Tottenham is that they're absolutely disappointed in Richie. And because he doesn't play and we don't get lengths and spells of him, he's become unreliable. And that's why Tottenham are willing to sell him now.
Yeah. Is there a market to buy him?
Yes.
The Saudis, I reckon the Saudis, if they really want him, and it's not all bluster, if they really want him, I reckon a bid's going to come in within the next 10 days.
Yeah.
If it does come in within the next 10 days, then I think the Saudis want him. If it doesn't come in within the next 10 days, then it's a lot of...
Well, I hope you're right, then. I hope that's part of the reason he's not going on the tour, because something's already happening behind the scenes.
No, he's injured. He can't go on the tour because he's injured, but I'm saying that Tottenham are disappointed in him.
Yeah.
But you could still go on the tour and not play.
It's not worthwhile, is it? Going on the tour and not playing? What's the point?
Might want to go, be with his mates.
He might even stay with Emerson Royal and play a few games of PlayStation and table tennis, what they play. I think that's how he gets injured. He plays table tennis with Emerson Royal, stretching for the ball. You know what? It's so disappointing that our so-called main striker is always injured, or he's got some other problem and he can't play. And it's a liability because we need someone who's reliable.
You wonder if half of it's in his head. You players that are injured this.
Guys, I got a question for you on that. Then, I mean, to me, when I've looked around and I've watched loads of videos, I've watched Omar Marmoush and I've watched Xerxes and I've watched Albert Gudmundsson and I've watched Tony and Jimenez and I've watched all these.
You've got time on your hands, Adrian.
Yeah, I know. I'm all on the group. Have a look. When I get little snippets of stuff, because I'll probably bombard you lot to death and bore the shit out of you with them, right? So,
I wouldn't say that.
And I shall continue to do so until you say don't, right? And but I'm not inspired by the strikers I've seen out there. Even a young Ferguson, I'm not. I mean, because he's not other ready. You know what? I would sooner get Eze in, right? Get him in. If we didn't bring a striker in, it wouldn't bother me, because the ones I've looked at, I just don't see a solution in any of the strikers. Either they don't press or they score goals. David, season before last, I thought it was just a tap immersion. He's had 2 good seasons with Lille. I'll grant him that. He scored more goals. He's crap in the Copa America. Jimenez, crap in the Copa America. Right, Tony can score goals. He's got clouds of doubt surrounding his background as well, And then you're looking to bring another foreign in. You know what? I'm at the stage now. F the striker solution. I want Eze, right, and I'd rather go for Eze, right, and use the ones we've got. If it meant we'd have to get a striker for Richarlison win, but other than that, I'd give Villiers, Lancashire, I'd give any of them a chance, because I think under handball, if you're in a centre, the amount of chances we create, because the amount of chances we missed more big chances last year. We'd have finished third. We'd have finished third. And I think Lancashire is a finisher. Give him the ball. You know, I watch young Scott Olsen in Belgium, the winger. The guy knows how to find the net. When I was talking to Ash about him, Ashmatic, he's brilliant on stats. He said he went away and he didn't do so well. I don't know, went to Serie A or whatever club, and then he come back. I said, but he's got an eye for goal. At least he's a winger that scores. You know, I'd rather go for, why spend money on that's why I think we'll end up with David, because I think it'll cost 20-25 mil rather than 40-45 mil. And if he fails, if the risk assessment's better on going for a Jonathan David, you know, than it is on one of the others, because Jimenez's season in Holland in the Eredivisie, it tailed off, and Parrott scored as many goals as him virtually. You know, I mean, I know Osimhen might be available for about 100 million or something like that. I mean,
I don't rate Osimhen.
Yeah, you see,
PSG are going for him.
I always wanted, if we're going to go and we're talking this money, like if they're talking 60-70 mil, then go to Juventus, offer him 70 mil for Vlahovic and get him in, because he would fit the system perfect. Right, go for someone who we've not really been linked with. Go for Vlahovic and get him, because I'll tell you what, this is my fear for next season, the striker issue. Not in midfield as such or at the back now. It's my fear is that, like you've all alluded to it, the front three striker. I'm working everywhere. You know?
Like Adrian, you said we need to get 90 goals, maybe 88 to 95 goals to win the league. So without a qualified, like bona fide striker, we can't rely on a kid in his first season to pull us through that mire. We need somebody experienced up front to lead the line.
Ellie,
we need the goals, don't we? To win the league.
You would have scored 20 goals with the ones that Werner and Johnson have missed this season.
100%.
In front of there, they were tap-ins. A lot of them were tap-ins and blasted over the bar from 3 yards out.
I get your point, because the youngsters can tap the ball in. They can.
Have you seen Mikey Moore's composure in front of goal? Have you seen Santiago's composure in front of goal? This is what these players lack: composure. This is what Emerson Moore lacks:
another level.
Composure.
At the higher level, that's the problem.
Well, I think I came from 3 yards out.
I suppose if they want to save money, they're going to give one of them the chance, or even one of them's chance to start and one on the bench. And
from 3 yards out, though, missing chances.
Yeah,
you haven't got to be. You've just got to be composed. You haven't got to be great. I mean, Divine would put them in the net. Mikey Moore would put them in the net. Santiago.
You have to have the physicality as well, right? They're young boys. Remember, they're not used to playing 38 games a season.
Let's talk about physicality for a moment. Physicality is good when you're a wing back or playing wide, and you've got to have the energy and the stamina to get up the field. Physicality, being brushed off the ball, I get that, but players are so well protected by referees on the field now. It's not like the other day when a young kid come on and got booted into the stand or nothing like that. They should still be. And our kids, I mean, Bergvall and Archie Gray, they're 6'2", right? Divine, Ashley Phillips is 6'4". You know, these are even Mikey Moore. He's 5'9", right?
Yeah, he's small
and he's stocky.
He's quick.
Right?
He's stocky. I'll give him that.
He's not like a Gill who looks like you know, 2 bits of string hanging out of his shorts. You know what I mean, and things like that. He's not like that type of player. I mean, I get the physicality, but I think there's a bit of a myth with physicality as well.
No, but you have to be. See, against men, it's going to be different, right? Because they're going to have different physical players at the back to tackle, right? And they're experienced players, right? So it's not going to be easy for them. But if they could step up, yes, we're going to save money. But I still think we need that out and out qualified striker if we're going to be serious about challenging for the league title.
Fine.
We can't rely on a kid to pull us out of the mire.
Just remember, Ellie.
Fine. Jose, who would you bring in? No, let's go around all. In that case, I mean, I've looked at these strikers. Who would you bring in? Out of all we've been linked with, who would you bring in? Jose?
I don't. Well,
see?
No. For me, I've said all along, if it's real, then for me, it would be Ivan Toney. If it's real links, he's the only one at the moment out of all the ones that we're being linked with that is actually a he's played Premiership, and you know he's done it in the Premiership. All the other players that we're being linked with haven't done it in the Premiership, and there's always this transitional period and stuff like that. So for me, it makes obvious sense that if you're going for someone that's done it before, then that would be the easier option. So for me, I'd probably go for him. But like I said earlier, this AK-47 approach from the ITKs, we've been getting players that we weren't even mentioned to be with, both buying and selling. So you know, it could be that we're all hanging our hats, hoping that Eze comes, Tony comes, and players like that. We could end up getting players that are totally different to these players that we're being linked with. But out of the links,
aren't we?
Yeah, but out of the links, I mean, for a striker, if we're looking at, and you asked me the question about a striker, for me, out of the ones that we're linked with, the one that makes sense to me because of the Premiership would be Ivan Toney over who the other two that would still be. Jonathan David, honestly, guys, he's too bob. Do not touch him. Stay well clear of him. Doesn't matter how cheap you can get him for cheap as chips. Don't go nowhere near him. Stay away from him. And the other player is Jimenez. And again with Jimenez, I don't know whether I don't think Jimenez is the answer either.
That you talk about the final player.
Just remember,
yeah.
Just remember, we built this new stadium to bring in the likes of Tony and that, but we were sold a dream. It was a lie. If you're going to bring in players like Jonathan David, we need a strike. Well, we're still waiting for Kane's replacement.
Yeah.
Is it going to turn out?
That was Richarlison, who was bought the year before for that.
I said that. The moment we bought Richie, I said that's Kane's replacement. I said that on many shows that I appeared on. You know, it's personally, I'd get even Tony. Bring him in. Premier League proven. All right. It's a bit of a risk because you don't know, but surely with the gambling stuff and that, he's been told, you do it again, we'll ban you forever.
I don't think it's just the gambling.
Well, you know, but whatever issues he's got, he's bound to have had some sort of therapy for it.
The rumours about his attitude. He doesn't press. He doesn't press either. So that might be an issue. I'm hoping Paratici will rag out of that. Maybe we'll go for Mido recommended Omar Mamushevantha at Frankfurt. He's as fast as hell, this kid. But he's comparing him with Mo, you know, with Salah and all that. But they're both Egyptian, you know what I mean? So like, you can perhaps take that with a pinch of salt. I'm hoping we get. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm at a loss when it comes to the striker. I want Eze. That's what I want. I want Eze. And then, you know, I just don't. Maybe we'll go for Solanke. I mean,
God, please don't.
We started. Well, I'm like, what about you, Ian? Come on, you're hosting. Who would you like?
Yeah, well, the players I want are Tony and Eze. I mean, Premier League proven goal scorers. We know all about them. We know they'll come into the team. You talk about pressing. At the end of the day, if you're looking for a completely oven-ready player that does everything, I don't know. You have to go to central casting or AI to get that. I just think Tony is absolutely the player, and we need another creative player in the middle. And I think Eze ticks all those boxes. If Maddison's back, because Maddison's looked pretty good. The kids will come in and do a job. But if you've got Maddison right, you've got Eze left, Bissouma or Sarr, Bentancur or Gray playing the number 6. With some interchangeability amongst them all, that side's taken care of. They will create chances. You need a natural goal scorer, someone who can do it at Premier League level. Tony ticks every box for me on that level. There's players with Vlahovic. I love Vlahovic. I absolutely adore him. In fact, he could play if you've got him. He could play quite happily on the right side of the attack. and would score a lot more goals than Brennan Johnson. But I don't know how realistic that is. But yeah, and we need a 6. I genuinely don't believe we need a 6. I seriously don't think that's where money needs to be spent. I think probably the auxiliary left back, Tony and Edzzy. I think there's a fair amount of positivity in the chat for those 2 signings, and maybe an auxiliary left back, maybe another right-sided forward if the right player is available at the right price.
I'll do that. Do what I do if any signing on manager comes to this club. I'll always back them 100% while they're at the club. I'll always back them, whoever's brought in. I'm just not inspired with what's out there. But if it's Eze and Tony, Eze definitely. Eze, Tony, and a left back, please, a Bradley Locko or someone like that. A left back will do. But there's a dearth of available strikers out there that are good. Really, there's none of them really have them ready. You're going to take a risk. Whoever you bring in is going to be a risk. Yeah, the risk assessment is Tony may be the best pick out of all of them. Yeah.
You said striker, so I only named a striker. You didn't tell me we could name other players that we wanted as well.
Well, all right. I wondered. All right, okay. 3 then. 3. I'm going Eze. All right, I'll go with Tony because at least he's homegrown and we know he can score goals. Although his season petered off, he had his worst scoring rate last season. Right. I mean, I want Eze basically. That would sort of calm me a bit.
Does anybody want Gallagher?
No.
It's a bit like saying you want herpes or something, isn't it?
Time for Man United. So you want herpes. Yeah, very good. Right, okay. Players, some more players out. I mean, are we happy? Emerson surely on his way?
Yeah, you've got to get rid of Reguilon, Gill, Lo Celso, Emerson, and perhaps if Jose's right, Richarlison. So Reguilon, Gill, Lo Celso, and Emerson are the ones, aren't they?
And Whiteman and Foster. And Davies.
Then Davies has got 1 year. He's not going anywhere, is he? And Whiteman and Foster ain't going nowhere.
He's got to stay for his
Whiteman might go out on loan. And Foster's got 1 year, so he's not going to volunteer to go anyway.
I'm sure we can sell Ben Davies to Leeds for $5 million.
Yeah.
Because they like a Welshman in Leeds, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
No, he's got to stay for his testimonial.
They don't do testimonials anymore. That's all.
Oh, do they not?
No, 10 years. It used to be a thing of the past. I can't remember the last time, Mark, that a team said we're having a testimonial for our player. I can't remember the last time they did that.
They earn enough money. That's why.
Yeah.
But what I will say about the midfielders that we've got, right? I reckon that this season we'll see a changing of the guard in our midfield. By having Graham Bergvall there, I think it's going to shake up the midfielders that we've got. And I think that the midfielders next year, year on, more players are going to move on from Tottenham. And I've got a feeling that some of our midfielders, if they're not gone now, they'll be moved on next year. I think there'll be a changing of the guard this season.
Such as whom? Because we've got a lot of young players. So are you thinking?
Yeah, the changing of the guard is with Bergvall and Gray, especially them two. I think that they haven't come in to go into the academy and warm the bench up. They're going to come in to battle for first team places. And if it's all about pressing or being press resistant and be able to be ball carriers and stuff like that, they may have the attributes and the fearlessness that some of our players in midfield don't currently have. Because with the youngsters, they've looked fearless up until now. They don't carry baggage. They don't have the weight of the world on their shoulders. They can express themselves. You see this with with young players from other nations, that they're fearless. They don't have that baggage. And you can improve your team and you can improve as a player being a youngster. I mean, you only have to look at, say, Jamal Musiala. He was young when he broke into the Bayern team. Fearless, doesn't give a crap, takes on players, does whatever, and he's improved over the years. Bellingham, when he went to Dortmund, I mean, he was doing a bit of bits and pieces at Birmingham, went to Dortmund, improved no end because his fearlessness. And I think we've brought 2 players that fit the system that Postecoglou wants. are clear ball carriers, can play in tight spaces, progressive passers, and I think they're going to shake the midfield up. I think that they will fight for spots with Bentancur, Sarr, Bissouma, and so on and so forth. And some of them midfielders may not be at Tottenham next season.
Interesting thoughts. Okay.
On that though, we could discuss this if you don't want it, because it's a little bit political. Do you think Bentancur's got a future at the club?
That's a good point.
I mean, I've seen it. I didn't watch all the video, but the FA out there have got all the film evidence on all the players. They're there to submit their defence on the 17th, which was last Wednesday, and it's going through. What might be a saving grace, another mitigating circumstances, is that the Argentinian squad was singing about French players, and if it was a case we have to lose Bentancur, who didn't cost us about 16 mil, would it mean that Chelsea lose Fernandes, whatever it would cost them 100 mil? You know,
but Bentancur plays for Uruguay, not Argentina, and it wasn't the Uruguayans that were singing about the French squad; it was Argentinians.
The different scenarios, Adrian.
Yeah, there was one of the players. Though, was one of the Chelsea players.
Enzo Fernandez. But it was the Argentinian squad. You said Bentancur. Bentancur's Uruguayan. He wouldn't be part of that.
Yeah, I know.
But he went into the crowd and he's been charged. But he also, remember, made some fairly derogatory remarks about
they all look the
South
same.
Koreans.
Yeah, they all look the same. Because I was speaking to Chang about it. I said, how well would that go down in Malaysia and out there in the Far East and that? Chang didn't really come back and say anything strong on it at all, you know. But you can imagine if Bentancur was going on a tour, he might face a protest. He may back here. You never know with groups. There's so many these groups out there nowadays. You don't know what might happen. No. But personally, I think they're going to get fined and face bans from their countries because their governing bodies have got to be seen to do something. The owners of a stadium should be fined as well because it wasn't policed correctly, because you're entitled to due care and attention when you go on anyone's premises. You are in the UK. I don't know what it's like in America. Perhaps you're allowed to be shot. I don't know. So, I mean, so they're going to get done. They've got mitigating services. There aren't, but I don't think
they've been charged by CONMEBOL. 11 of the players have been charged from Uruguay by CONMEBOL.
All of them.
And I thought, and I feared when it first happened, I feared for Bentancur and the others as well. Mainly Bentancur and Darwin Núñez. But what's become apparent, I think, is that any sanctions that they get will not be worldwide. It will just be for internationals only. So therefore, it won't be a club. Now, if the club decides to take action, then that'll be down to Tottenham to do. Now, what I will say, and I'm not defending any of this by no way, shape, or form, right, is with the Lolo incident when he was talking. Now, I speak Spanish, and they speak Spanish in Uruguay and in Argentina, but they speak with a dialect, a bit of a twang type thing. So I was listening to the Bentancur stuff, and I could not make out that it was as bad as what people said it was. However, he did apologise for it. And now, when I heard the singing from Enzo Fernandez when he did the Argentinians, I didn't hear them referring to Angolans, Ivorians, or any Africans at all in their song. And I didn't pick up any of that in what I saw. However, as I said, they speak with a slightly different twang, but I didn't pick up any of that. Yet Enzo Fernandez has come out and apologised as well. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think with the Enzo Fernandez one, I think the club want to do something about it, Chelsea as well. They've already said that they want to get involved.
We're coming up to 2 hours, so I want to move a couple of things in the chat I want to bring up. And then one last topic very briefly before we finish. No minutes for Santiago from Audio Artisan. Good evening, sir, by the way. What's the plan for him as he's one of the older ones? Adrian, do you want to pick that up?
I want to see him play. I like the look of him. But Ange might not. I mean, this is the whole thing. I mean, he is one of the older ones. He's recently come out and said best day's work he ever done was come to Tottenham. He actually said that in a quote. Loves it at the club. So I don't know. I don't know whether I don't know what Ange plans. Mind you, he was on the bench. He wasn't used. Was he on the bench yesterday?
No, it was only Hearts, only the Hearts game.
He was on the bench against Hearts. I looked because I was looking for him, right? And I was disappointed he didn't get any minutes. You know,
Him and Niall John weren't in the team, weren't in the squad yesterday, but they were in the Hearts game.
I wonder. I mean, I wonder because of when I watch the under-21s, often the streams that you send, Adrian, that there's quite Lancashire scores quite a lot of goals from Santiago crosses.
But Adrian, you get Spurs play, right? So yesterday, I know we had the game against QPR, but the under-21s also played a friendly yesterday as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they won away at St Albans 2-0.
2-0. Do you know whether Santiago and Niall John were involved in that game?
They would have been. I didn't see the squad.
Okay, all right.
Because
that could be the possibility then, Ian, that they were both left to play in the under-21s.
Yeah, and Soon-Sup, Bell and others and all that,
I mean, Biss and Gray look like being our 2 number 6 choices. What do you think?
Well, I thought that's the reason we bought Basuma. I thought he was going to finally be the Moussa Dembele replacement, but he obviously hasn't turned out that way so far.
Yeah, he was good yesterday. I know it was only against
QPR. Well, the highlights I saw, he was good.
Yeah,
I hope it's because he realises he might have competition for his place now, like the others do. That's why I'm hoping.
Yeah,
because to be honest with you, towards the end of last season, I think if we were going to be favourite to get with one midfielder, he was going to be first. So, but obviously Ange does like him. Ange obviously likes him, no matter any rumours are out there.
Yeah,
and it was an interesting start in midfield, wasn't it?
I think Gray last season, for those of us who watched him play for Leeds, and I watched him when he was on TNT and when he was on Sky, because I've got them too, so they're legit stuff that I pay for. So I watched them there, and every time I saw Gray play, Gray played or had the capability of playing as a 6 and as an 8. Bissouma, for me, when he was at Brighton, Bissouma was more a number 8 at Brighton than a 6, and the 6 was Caicedo when they played together. So, at the end of the day, sometimes we're wishing that Bissouma could be the 6, and sometimes we're wishing Bissouma could be an 8. But it appears that we haven't got players that can do both. Maybe, and I'm just saying a maybe here, maybe Archie Moore is the one that can play a 6 or an 8.
Do you think, Jose, then that I've thought this for a little while, that Ange would like, the reason he wants box-to-box number 8 is so as they can get up with a number 10, is because the box-to-box number 8, part of their duties is to share the responsibilities of a number 6. So he'll play with 2 8s and a 10 rather than actually play with a 6, 8 and 10.
So when he played at Celtic, and Ian is going to be, I know a lot more than me because I'm sure that he watched a lot of Celtic at the time because he's being up in Scotland. But he played with Matt O'Reilly, Callum McGregor, and the one other. Who's the other third? He had a third player there as well. But all three,
McGregor, Riley, and Tatate would have been his top. His 2 with his 3, but McGregor was very much the 6.
Right, but yeah,
okay, yeah, and a 6.
Right, yeah, but if you ask Postecoglou said, and I agree with you, on the eye, McGregor looked like he was a 6, but Postecoglou always said, "No, I play with 3 8s. They're 3 8s, and they share the responsibility." But to me, it was always McGregor that was the anchor.
Yes, absolutely, and you've got to have an anchor in that system.
Yeah, and I thought
we do get exposed.
I thought McGregor was the anchor all day long, but Postecoglou would always turn around and say, "No, I play with 3 8s. I don't play with a 6." Yeah. So it's interesting. Right. Oh, here we go. The starting lineup that Ronnie's put up. It was Keelan McKnight, Ashcroft Roswell.
Oh, sorry. Go back.
King, Ajay, John. Okay, so Niall John was there. Black, Santiago, Williams, Akramich were the 21. So yeah, Santiago and Niall John played for the 21s. The interesting thing is that Santiago and Niall John are both 21 now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of young kids, but some of them are obviously not going to make it. A lot are, but I don't know. It's
Niall John went out to
with a couple of weeks
play him. Don't know what's happening with Leo Black and
Matthew. You've heard about Matthew Craig, didn't you?
Yeah. He was on loan at Doncaster last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he had a really good loan. He's now talking to go on loan to Barnsley for this season. So that means he's going up a division. So Matthew Craig had a good one at Doncaster last year, but now he's going up a division to go and play with Barnsley on loan.
Okay. Right, guys, it's gone 10 o'clock and it's a 1 minute 54, 1 hour 54 minutes, which if it goes, I turn into a pumpkin if the show goes more than 2 hours. So any last thoughts? So there could be more shows in the week. I was going to talk about Amanda Staveley and her possible involvement, but I'm going to leave that for another night because that's another, that's more, not a 5-minute discussion. And yeah, but so Mark, we'll go round. Any last thoughts?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. Like, subscribe, and do all that stuff that YouTubers say. And come on, you Spurs.
Jose.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Mark said. Thank you very much, guys, for having me on. You four lovely people. Ian, you asked me to come on.
Yeah.
But the four of
always
you,
a pleasure having you on.
But the four of you are part of the same Spurs Diehards TTID. So I thank you all very much. What I will ask is people that have been watching. So just out of curiosity, tell me at the back end, but on the left-hand corner, you've got the eye there, haven't you? And it tells you a number, right? So let me know after the show what you got, because I shared it to my channel again, and you've got quite a few people that have come into your show through my channel as well. So trying to boost your,
we'll talk to you something about that as well when we're in the background.
Just trying to boost your numbers up. So listen, everyone, everyone that's still over at mine, come over to Spurs TTID and subscribe to them. You know who these people are because they appear on other channels as well. They now have their own channel. Come and subscribe to these people.
Keep it going. Keep it going, Jose. I'll keep it going, Jose. I'll put the link in your chat.
Yeah, if you can do that, then put the link in for Spurs.
I will do.
Yeah, put it in there. And please, people, subscribe over to Adrian, Ian, Ellie, Mark, Soren, and Chang.
Yeah. Chang.
So,
and Ash.
And Ash.
And Chris Peters.
There's a lot of people, and all you guys know these people from the community. Just keep supporting them. Support the community. These guys work hard. And and they bring you good content, they bring you good guests, and they vary their guests as well on their shows. So please support Adrian and Ellie, Ian, Mark, and the others that are not here at the moment. Support them. And whilst you do that, Mark's going to put the link in because Mark's a blue spanner in my channel. So
I'm a spanner. That's about it.
Blue spanner. He's able to
Thanks, Jose. Ellie, are you there, my darling, or have we lost you? There you go. There's the link, everybody.
Yeah.
So there we go. I knew I could do it.
Take that.
That was off my iPhone, so if it don't work, it's not my fault.
Okay. Any last thoughts, Adrian?
No, it's been a good show. We covered a fair bit of ground. We've chewed the cud on this. We've got diverse opinions as usual, which is good and healthy. I like my thoughts challenged as well. No, it's all good, and I'm looking forward to us doing more shows. I'm looking forward to guesting on with Jose. They're one of the first shows I did guest on, actually, so I've got a lot of time for Talk and Ball and El Tel Cockerel.
Yeah,
and, I'll keep sending them info when I can through videos and stuff if I find interesting stuff, as I do everyone, Yeah. No, all good though.
All right. Good show. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Adrian, and thank you. A few of you tuning out, I can see, but so thank you those of you that have watched the show and for the comments that have been really interesting. Let's hope we get some signings in the next week or so, and we can start to have a look at how we're going to look at the end of the season. So from all of us, come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs!
Arsenal get battered, everywhere they go. Arsenal get
Oh, you pressed the end button just as I was about to.
You got to press the end button.
Well done.
All right. Stream hasn't ended yet. It still says end stream at my end at the top.
Yeah, it's still live. You're still live.
We're still live, Adrian.
Still live. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.